First name, Ivana Makia.
She's going to make you scream, apparently. Now, this vlog is being done with a little input by Amy.
Yes.
Yes,
Indeed.
so explain.
Right, so for this video, we're going to be recounting our spooky ghost stories that we've accumulated over the years as a little Halloween treat for you guys. So grab a snack, grab a drink, buckle in, maybe turn the light out and get ready. Okay, so the first story that Ivana tell you is about the house that I used to live in. I used to live in a house that was, I believe, to be paranormally active, and so does Andrew. Sorry, Suffolk pirate. And I used to see this strange figure in the house. And you might be thinking, you know, your standard ghostly figure, you know, some ladies in white and all that. No. This thing was like a shadowy golem clinging to the ceiling and crawling around the ceilings some nights. Very, very creepy. Very, very creepy. I don't know what it was. I can't say that I know what it was. I have no idea, but I'm glad we don't live there anymore. Okay, another story from the same house. I actually had a dream one night that quickly turned into a nightmare. I was on my bedroom floor in my sleep, and I was sort of between two chests of drawers, so there was a little gap in the middle. And there was like a red glow coming from the gap, and I could see the shadow of like a face, and it looked kind of like a witch, and like in my head I knew that it was a witch. And so I woke myself up, because you know, I knew it was a dream, and I was like, oh, I need to wake up because I don't like it. And when I woke up, I was actually on the floor, exactly where I had been in my dream, and I was looking at the exact spot where the witch was. But there was no witch there, so I don't know, make of that what you will.
First time I ever see a ghost, I was about 15 years old, and I was taking my girlfriend at the time home and dropped her off, and I had to walk through a very dark lane called Stone Lodge Lane. I think if most people who live in Ipswich watching this will know where I'm in. And at the time it was well, it still is a tiny little lane with a very, very bad lighting. And as I was walking as I was walking through the lane, I could see some people come towards me under a dim light, and then I see a car coming behind them, and the car run all the people over, and the car just sped past me, and I thought, oh my god, what the hell. So I ran down to where these people were, and when I got there was nobody there at all. And I searched around in the bushes and different bits and pieces to see if they would be knocked over into the trees or whatever, and there was nobody. And I can assure you that quarter mile from there to my house was the quickest I've ever run in my life. I was absolutely bricking it. So that was the first time I ever see a ghost. So, let's go on to some more. Now, Amy was just talking about the house they lived in at Stanton, and I can assure you it was very, very haunted. There was an old church up the road, St John's, and I think there was a connection in the area between that church and the area with spirits, definitely. You know, at that time I was into mediumship and everything else, so I could pick it up. Very strange things. I used to see like a creature crawling across the ceiling, like a black creature. And Mrs. P used to think that I was coming down the stairs and I wasn't even out of bed. And she'd say, oh, are you there? And that wasn't me. And I always used to say to Mrs. P, this house is bad. You need to leave. And course she did, and we live here now. So that was not a very good house. It had a bad vibe about it. Amy couldn't remember it, but she used to come down when she was about 6 and say to me, "I've been talking to my friend, my little friend who comes into the bedroom." And I used to say, "Who's that then?" And then she'd say, "Well, I don't know, she's a little girl." And when we looked into it, a little girl was about a quarter of a mile down the road, in the 60s, was actually run over by a car and died. And I think that's who Amy was talking to. So that was not a very good house.
Okay, so in the place that we used to live, there was a church called St John's, and it has featured on Suffolk Andy's channel before. I believe the video was called something like was it a very scary place for Suffolk Andy? There we go, I know the video titles. And the first time I ever went to this church, something very strange happened while I was there. I was standing in the grounds of the church, and it's just the walls. Like, there's nothing, there's no ceiling, there's no floor, there's no nothing, it's just the walls. And I stood in there, I was probably about 7 years old, and I had a moment where I felt like a change in what was in front of me, and I started looking around, and I noticed that there were pews all around me, church pews that were not there before. And I looked up, and the ceiling was on fire of the church, and I could just feel like, I couldn't really see people as such, but I just felt like people rushing past me, and like just general panic. And I felt panic from being in there, and as quickly as it happened, it just disappeared, and I was standing back on the grass with just the walls around me, no ceiling whatsoever. And I didn't know at the time, I was too young to really have known anything about it, but the ceiling of the church actually burnt down, so perhaps it was some kind of a glimpse into the past, I don't know, but it was creepy. Well, it's not only places around me that have been haunted. My best friend's old house is on Worsted Road, so they're quite old houses. Some strange things used to happen in there, like we'd be upstairs and we knew there was nobody awake, there was nobody downstairs, and we would hear the chairs being pulled out from the dining room table and things like that. You'd hear people walking around, but you knew everyone else was asleep. And her mum actually did see a full-bodied apparition there way before. I think it only happened once. But one of the scariest things that ever happened when I was there was that me and my friend do cosplays and stuff for Comic-Con, so we were making our costumes in the back room, and the living room door, we hear it swing, and it gets to a point where you have to push it again to close it, so it swings, catches, and shuts, so it does the whole 3 things, and you have to take quite a bit to actually do that. Like, there's no way the wind could do it, but this was at like 2 o'clock in the morning and nobody else was up. It's not near a window, so I don't know how that happened, but I know that we were very productive that night because we didn't actually want to go past the room to go up the stairs to go to bed, so we got a lot of work done that night, but that was very creepy. I didn't appreciate that. Her sister used to talk to a little boy in that house. A lot of strange goings on there, but yes, they don't live there anymore, so that's fine. I don't have to have any more haunted sleepovers.
Another one. I don't know if I mentioned this one before. A woman phoned me up and said that a few months earlier her neighbour had died, and they were having a bit of a neighbour feud between them. He was not a very nice man, he was quite a nasty man, and he used to shout at her and call her names and stuff like that over the fence, or if she was out in the local shops, and she really disliked him. Anyway, one morning she opened her curtains and there was the private ambulance, the ambulance that takes you when you've died. And she actually looked out the window and thought, bloody good riddance, I'm glad you're dead. You won't, give me any grief anymore. Anyway, a few weeks later, when she used to come down in the morning, her front room, all her pictures and stuff and ornaments were all thrown around, chairs are all upside down and everything else. So anyway, she got in touch with me, and I took 3 other spiritual friends around there to do a clearance, because after what she told me, I thought, yeah, it's probably him. Can't let the food go, and is carrying on from the other side. So anyway, when I got there, there was her and her partner and 2 of her friends. So we had a talk, worked out, yes, we feel it's this guy who used to live next door. He's got to be taken over, he's got to be crossed over. So we done what we usually do for a crossing, crossed him over, sorry. And we heard like effing and blinding. You could hear it in the room, somebody shouting. I won't repeat the words because they're pretty bad. And anyway, after this was done, and I said to the couple who cleared his spirit, he's gone to spirit. The 2 people who her neighbours were sitting there, and they looked really, really frightened. And I said, what's the matter? And they said, did you hear that? And I said, yeah. He was effing and blinding as he went over. He didn't want to go, he wanted to stay. And when spirit took him, they had to drag him over. And that was quite frightening for those people. It wasn't for us, but it was for them, because they'd never seen anything like that, and I think it opened their eyes to the spiritual world, really. I'll do one more, because there's so many. And I think I've done this one before. A lady phoned me up and said she had a ghost in the house. She'd just seen it and she was frightened. She wouldn't come out of her bedroom because it just walked past her door. So I went straight there, and she let me in, and I could feel this spirit up in her hallway. So I went up to the hallway, and I said, she was behind me, and I said, look, stay here. I'm going to go down here because it's in this bedroom. So I opened the door, and there was a rush past me, and the lady sort of stepped back, and I said, well, it's just gone past me. It's gone, I know it's gone, it's just rushed out of the house. And the lady said, what's the matter with your neck? And I said, what's the matter with my neck? She says, bleeding. And when we looked, I had 3 big scratches across my neck where these nails had gone across and drew blood in 3 places. So that was an evil spirit, there's no doubt about it, but I got rid of it. So took a little bit of damage, but done the trick.
Alright, so this one, I don't know if it is scientific or supernatural, I have no idea, but I bought my mum a necklace, and I think it was for Christmas, and it was a gold cross. I think it was like one of those fancy sort of loop-de-loop type ones. And I remember buying it for her. I looked it over before I wrapped it up, and everything was fine. And I thought this would be really nice because she hadn't been wearing the cross that she normally wears for a while. She'd been wearing a different one, so I thought maybe she just fancies a new one. But when she opened it up, she said that the chain of it was broken into tiny pieces, and it was just completely like the chain was destroyed. Like she couldn't make any sense of it or get it to sit how it should, because there was just so many pieces that were just broken off. And I was really upset about it because I thought, it was fine when I wrapped it, and I thought, what could have, torn it apart? And then I went back up to her bedroom to have a look, because I thought I need to see how this happened, because I knew it was fine. And when I opened the box, it was completely intact again. And I showed her, and she was freaking out because she'd seen it broken, but now it was fine. So I don't know if that was some kind of a message, or if chains have a way of breaking themselves and reattaching themselves that physics can explain. I don't know, but weird. The most recent supernatural encounter that I've had, well, I believe it was supernatural anyway, was that I was going into university, and there's a crossing that I have to wait for ages at. It takes like 6 minutes for them to change, it's crazy, but I was waiting at this crossing, and this man comes up next to me. He's just sort of very posh in a suit, he's got a hat on and a suitcase, briefcase, and he is sort of looking at me, but looking at this general area. And, you know, being a woman, it happens sometimes. And I was like, I don't know if he's just looking there for, you know, I didn't know what he was looking there for. But it turns out he was actually reading my t-shirt. And I had a Walking Dead t-shirt on that said, "Warning, we are all infected." And he just randomly started talking to me and asked me, he just said, "Infected with what?" And he had this really kind of smooth voice, and it was kind of, I was already a bit aware that something was strange. I said, "Oh, it's from a TV show, it's just about, you know, zombie infections, you know, all that jazz." And he seemed really quite amused by it. He was just sort of laughing to himself about it. And then we walked the rest of the way to my university building, and he was still behind me because I'd been checking because I was a little bit creeped out. And as I came round to the doors that I would go into, the whole wall is glass. And I was looking in the glass because I thought I could hear him behind me, and I thought I'm going to see him in a second. But I never saw him in the glass. And I could still hear that he had come round the corner, so I thought, that's a bit strange. I was looking behind me, I was looking everywhere, and I couldn't see him. So I don't know if that day I was speaking to a spirit. I have no idea, because no one else really seemed to pay that much attention to him. I don't know. But I was very, very creeped out by it. Could have been a ghost, could have been a disappearing man. Maybe he was a magician with that briefcase, I don't know, but yeah. Creepy.
Right, I just listened to that story from Amy, and I'd like to assure you that everywhere you go, and every place you go, they're around you. They're there. They're there all the time. You might not be able to see them, but they're there. And I'm going to give you a little instance now. A couple of 3 times I've been riding my bike, and I'm going down country lanes or down, you know, quite big roads, and corner of my eye I see somebody standing there on the side of the road, and I think, oh my word. And this happened to me about a couple of years ago. I see a person standing at the side of the road, just standing there. I thought, that's weird, middle of nowhere. Anyway, a few months later I came back down that road, and there was some flowers on the side of the road where somebody had been killed in a car accident. And to this day, I'm sure that was the person who'd lost their life on that road. And I've seen that 2 or 3 times now, where people are just standing there watching, and you think, that is weird, really, really weird. So there's something for you to think about, that they are around you. Your loved ones who go over to the spirit world are with you all the time. And some people say to me, well, do they watch me all the time? They might well do, but they're not interested in what you do. They're not interested in anything you do. They're just interested in you as a person, and their love will come through to you. So that's something to think about. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Just before we go, we're going to tell you about our new channel that we've started. Amy's going to tell us. So off you go, Amy.
Okay, so the new channel, it's called Suffolk Spooks, is now live on YouTube. So if you go and subscribe there, you can do so by either on the homepage of Suffolk Andy's channel, it will be up on the related channels on the right hand side, or you can look in the description of this video or any of the other spooky sort of paranormal investigation videos that we've done. It will be linked in the description. If you go and subscribe there, hit the bell, you'll be notified of any uploads that we make, and we shall be doing some soon. We have some plans.
Well, the other thing I want to talk about the channel is that I'm trying to prove to, you know, everybody who wants to do a little bit of ghost hunting and whatever, that you don't need all the equipment. You know, we use days and rods, cost you 6 or 7 quid off YouTube, no, not YouTube, eBay, and a crystal that will cost you about a £5.
Yeah, depending on what you get,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, about a £5. You don't need to be walking around graveyards at night and in haunted buildings at night, because trust me, they're there during the day. The only thing that I would say about going around at night is if there's mists and stuff like that, you've got more chance of picking them up. So if you want to do a little bit of ghost hunting on a budget, just get yourself some dowsing rods and a crystal. Go during the day. Be respectful.
Yep.
And if anything does creep you, just walk away.
You can always leave.
You can
at
always
any
leave.
point.
Yeah.
So,
Just walk away and call it a day. Anything that actually creeps you, don't get involved. Okay? Because I can tell you this now, a lot of things in the spirit world, everybody go, oh, the spirit world's so lovely and gorgeous. It's not. There's evil there, the same as there's evil here. There's evil people and there's evil spirits. But if you do it sensibly and you do it with respect, you can have some fun and you might find some evidence as well. So with that, I'm going to say,
all spook safe.
all spooks safe.
Creep out each other.
Creep out each other. Suffolk Andy.
Suffolk Amy. Future Suffolk spooks.
Yeah. Thank you.